Hey everybody, Jake here from Clinetimephotography, and what is going on? So today we are going to be on the couch. Currently it's too cold outside in the garage and I have way too much stuff going on to even do a video, too much crap out there. And I thought about doing it in the office, but then I'm like, why would I do it in the office? I have an awesome, wonderful couch right here. And yeah, so we are going to start the couch coffee discussion. I don't know if that's a trademark yet, but hey, if you see anybody else that's thought of it, let me know. I think it's gonna be great because I prefer my couch over my desk chair anyway. Anyhow, so let's get back to the good stuff. Gaia GPS. Gaia GPS is awesome. I love it. We're gonna be talking about what I like using it on, some mounts. I could literally probably spend 2 hours talking about Gaia GPS. I've given a class on Gaia GPS and shown people how it works and everything like that because it can be a lot um, at first, but I'm going to show you like the basic stuff and probably the stuff that you're probably going to use the most often. And then yeah, we're going to dive into that. I'm not planning on doing 2 hours of this, so you can rest assured with that. Um, but this is going to be one of those videos where there's going to be a lot of information. You guys know I like to give out good quality stuff. So again, this is going to be an info video. If this video takes 15-20 minutes, it takes 15-20 minutes. If it takes 45 minutes, it takes 45 minutes. So it's your gain or loss whether or not you guys want to watch all of it. So there's going to be some really good info on here. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. So with that being said, let's get to it. All right, so first things first, let's talk about what to use it on. Some people like using, a laptop. Laptop's not bad if you're at home, but these can be kind of a pain in the butt to use, obviously, if you're on the road. Another option is a phone, which you guys are on my phone right now, so that's not another bad option. But what I prefer personally, iPad. Reason being, screen's obviously a lot bigger, so we would never, ever, ever use one of these while we are driving at the same time or off-roading because it's highly dangerous in the state of California and fellow other few other states. So absolutely don't do that. But what I do recommend is the screen on this is a lot bigger. It's a lot easier to use. It's obviously bigger than your phone. And then the other thing I recommend doing is if you do decide to go this route, get an iPad, do probably two things. One, probably get one with a pretty good storage capacity because once you start saving maps and everything like that, it's going to start taking up some data storage. I don't know what I'm at now. I want to say I'm at like 12 gigabytes or something like that, but obviously I'm planning on using this device. I pretty much use this for overlanding, period. There really isn't anything else on here. So probably get something with at least, I would venture to say maybe at least 100 gigabytes or something like that. That way you don't have to transfer any of your stuff because you're going to download maps and stuff like that on here, and we'll talk about that later. But iPad, and then the other thing I recommend too is if you can, try and get one that's got cell service capabilities. That way, when you are downloading maps, because it happens sometimes we're in a rush, we're heading to our destination, and we gotta like, crap, I'm gonna be out in the middle of nowhere. I gotta download some maps. Um, you can download them through this with, if it already has cell phone or cellular capabilities. That way, it's downloading as you're driving. You can do the whole hotspot thing and do that. That's an option. But I personally think it's just easier just to freaking get one of these with the capabilities and cellular capabilities. Just makes it easier. Let's see here. What else? That's pretty much it. I really enjoy using iPad for this. It's super lightweight. I can take it if I need to show anybody, you know, take it off my dash, my mounts and everything like that, and then just give it to them and be like, hey, this is where we're going. Super portable. So yeah, I like it a lot. If you do get a case for it, I would probably get kind of like one of these slim design cases, kind of like this. If you guys can see that, it's not like super bulky, you know, and we're going to talk about that in a sec. You know, this is just the one that goes over and flips over. I don't remember who makes this exact case, but we're going to talk about why that's important here in a sec. All right, so now let's talk about mounts. So I tried a couple different mounts. So far, hands down, best mounts I can use or have used so far is RAM mounts. RAM mounts are really awesome. I use the crap out of these things. I have them for everything. I got them in my truck, the 4Runner. You guys see them all over the place. This is I think it's the X Grip RAM mount. They have another one that's like this spring-loaded device that like comes this way. Put your iPad in there, and then it springs back. I have one of those on the 4Runner. It works good, but the problem I found is that there's a little bit of space in there, so sometimes my iPad will rattle around a little bit, so that can kind of get a little annoying. So far, I've been liking these. The only thing that sucks about these though is these little tabs right here. These ones, you see I lost one right here, but these guys right here, they come off pretty easily, so you just kind of got to be careful with that, because like when you're got your iPad in here and then you like pull it off, sometimes you'll pull off some of these little rubber tabs, but once it's in here, it secures it very well. Hence also why you do not want a thick iPad case, because if you have a really thick iPad case, it may or may not fit in here. So just food for thought. Let's see here, what else? Oh yes, mounts. Use the 1.5-inch balls. That's funny. I just got a weird mind. Use So the problem with the 1-inch mounts. So if you use the 1-inch mounts, the problem you'll have is, like, let's say you have this mounted on your dash. It's usually where we have them. Is that eventually with vibration and then the weight of the iPad, because of course these are heavier than your phone, it's going to start dropping down, dropping down, dropping down, dropping down. Then you'll have to pick it up and then do the same thing, and it'll start dropping down. So easy quick fix, just use the 1.5-inch RAM mount sizes. All right, those are just some cool little side tips and stuff like that. If you guys have any questions on anything like that, you guys can always shoot me a message on any of the stuff here. The other thing I'd probably recommend is don't stay away from the suction cup mounts for your phone if you're using that for this, and the yeah, stay away from those. Reason being is because eventually the suction cup mounts, the ones that like stick to your front windshield, they'll eventually start drying, and then the suction cup will just drop, and then it'll drop your phone or iPad or whatever. I definitely wouldn't. I personally wouldn't recommend them. I would, if you can, try and like hard mount, your mounts or whatever to your dash some way. You may or may not have to get creative. I had to make my own mount because nobody makes like a RAM mount bracket for the Ford, so I just made mine. They're not too hard to make. You can kind of put something together and kind of make something out of it. But anyhow, all right, let's get into Gaia and let's start talking about the mapping system. All right, let's check it out, everybody. Here it is, Gaia GPS. All kinds of cool little things you can do on here. We got a lot to talk about, so let's just let's get right to it here. So real quick, looking at the map, you can obviously turn around, rotate, 2 fingers, all that good stuff. Bottom right hand corner, move over so you can kind of see that. See where it says 1 mile. So when you zoom in, obviously it gives you your different ranges and distances, everything like that. And then of course, if you hit the eye, the bottom right hand corner too, click that. That gives you all of your map legends. So this is pretty good, if you're using a different layer, not really sure, what all the different lines and stuff means, roads, all that good stuff. So this will kind of break it down for you, give you a pretty good understanding of what everything is. So now let's go and talk about our bar up top here. So top left corner, you see where it says record, right? So pretty self-explanatory. Once you hit record, all the other bars kind of fill into play here. Camera, you can take pictures of stuff if you drop waypoints, stuff like that. I don't really use that personally very often, but it's a feature. Next option, and then this is our bar getting into it. So, this you can really adjust to whatever you really want. I mean, it just all depends on how you want to set it up. I mean, everybody's got their own individual needs. So I have it set up like this. So, you can do distance, whole time, map center, all this cool little stuff in here. I'll kind of go over why I have my stuff set at this. So sunrise, sunset, that for me is super important. If I'm still exploring around and it's getting to be like, you know, it's like 4 o'clock, and then I'm like, okay, cool. Well, shoot, I need to start thinking about finding camp here soon. So then I'm like, okay, sweet. So I'll just go ahead and, start looking for camp, because the sun's going to be setting around, looks like according to here, 4:42. And then next over, we have our elevation, right? So that's pretty critical. That with that, you can kind of predict quite a bit, what the weather is going to be like, how cold it's going to get, whether you're going up in elevation, down in elevation. A lot of cool stuff you can kind of figure out along with that. Your ascent, whether you're going up, down, pretty critical, good information to have and know. Another thing that you can throw on here too is your lat and long. You found like a really cool spot, or if you need an emergency or anything like that, that way you always have your lat and long. Next is your distance. Pretty self-explanatory. What's the distance? How far have you traveled today? How far are you planning on traveling tomorrow? On the trail, how much distance have you covered? That'll kind of let you determine how far you're going to go, like on another trail. Just kind of stuff like that. Your course. So, I mean, your course, you can get all creative. It says right here, all right, we're facing 18 degrees north. Just again, a lot of cool little features. I have a compass on here as well too. If you can see that, I'm panning around right now. So like, it's like right now, I'm predominantly facing west. So kind of just that kind of cool little stuff. And then over here, it looks like we also have our whatchamacallit, our layers, top right hand corner. So let's go ahead and tap that. All right, so now we have the layers. So over here you see map sources. We have active, and then we have inactive. So our active ones are the layers that we can like right now I can toggle on and off. I want to toggle on US Forest Service layer. I can toggle that on. Satellite, I can toggle that on. So what I will say is it's very important for you to know these layers, and then also more importantly is to know whose land you're on. And we'll kind of get into that here in a sec. So on the active section, you see how I have Mapbox, Outdoors, HD, right? That's this one right here. So what you can do is you can change these around depending on, what you want your different priorities to be. So I have Mapbox Outdoors HD set as my base map. You see that little indicator right after it. So what that means is when all these other layers, up here are all turned off and everything, that's what's going to be my base map. That is what's going to be on the bottom layer. So that kind of gives me this info right here of the streets, the highways, freeways, parks, all this good stuff. So it's really important for you to have a base map layer that can give you a lot of just, in my opinion, just basic information, kind of just general where you're going, highways, all that kind of stuff. Some people put like the national map on there, like the road atlas style map. That's one option. I like Mapbox Outdoors HD. It's pretty easy to use, pretty user friendly. So that's kind of my personal preference. Alrighty, so now I want to show you the next layer. Let's go over here to the forest. Okay, so this is all, let's see, we got Jersey-Dale, we got Yosemite National Park. So I know this is all predominantly U.S. Forest Service area. But let's say I want to figure out some more information. I want to learn more about this area, some roads, maybe some lakes, and just some different little places to go check out. So obviously this layer is giving me some pretty basic information. I just see the highway. So let's say I just want more, right? So let's go ahead and do this. I know that this area is predominantly Forest Service land. So let me go ahead and turn this layer on. And voila, here we go. So now, turn that waypoint off. Now we have a lot more information. Like, look right over here. I got all these different little trails that we can go on. Still got the highways, boundaries. I've got all my topography lines. You know, it's telling me name of the different canyons, all this different, like, really detailed information, right? So that's where it's really important to know, again, you know, who owns the land and what layer is going to be the most benefit for that area. So now we go over here and we see that, you know, it's just the Mapbox Outdoors HD still. You know, I'm not getting a lot of information. Well, that's because U.S. Forest Service might not have obviously a layer or a map for this specific area. So that is Yosemite National Park. So, all right, so in that case, let's do this. Let's turn this layer off. And NPS visitor, that is National Park, I think service or whatever visitor. So let's go ahead and turn that layer on. And whoa, here we go. All right, so now we're getting some info for Yosemite National Park area. So now we got, let's see, we got Olmsted Point, we got all this different little different information. We got hikes, we got a lot of really good little info. You can zoom in here, going into actual Yosemite Valley, all the different hikes and everything like that. Okay, all right, very cool. So we got some pretty good info here now. So again, you got to know the maps, you got to know what area you're in and who owns the land, and that way you can really kind of see, you know, what map you need to use. And then of course I'm going to talk about these other ones. So satellite, why do I like satellite? You know, satellite's really good if you need to, like, if you know about a general area and you want to just kind of just get some small little details, you know, like you're not really sure where a road is at, but you know it's there and you kind of want to see if you can find it. All right, well, it looks like we got a little road going on right here, so that's cool. All right, well, let's see what else we got in this area. Oh, cool, like there's a cool little lake right over here. Maybe we can go check that out. You know, so it's kind of good to have satellite. That way you can kind of like get like a life view, so to speak, of like what's going on in the area, what to look for, and just kind of that general stuff. Nat Geotrails. This is another good layer for you hikers out there who's ever into hiking. This will give you some pretty detailed information on hikes and all that good stuff. So, like, let's say, like right here, you know, we have all the different trail designators. We even have, like, right here, lost claim. All right, there's trash cans there, there's bathrooms, RV parking. You can camp there. Okay, cool. So, this gives you a lot of really good information as well about different areas and all that. You know, it just all depends on the area you're trying to go to and what information you're really just trying to get, you know. But that's another really good layer for you hikers out there. And this is that final layer that I am using, kind of starting to get used to a little bit, is Public Land US. So this layer is supposed to show you who owns the land. I'm still trying to figure it out. I want to say, I think green is like Forest Service, and then like red is I want to say BLM. Don't quote me on that. Make sure you do your research. And then I want to say brown is like National Park or something like that. So if you need to figure out who owns the land or this, that, and the other, you can kind of look at this layer. So those are like my main active layers. Those are the ones that I kind of just personally enjoy. So some other layers. It just, again, you tailor this system depending on what you want to do. So, here there's deer, there's quail maps, topo, winter, national map. The Neotrex land use I used to use a lot, but I guess they don't use it anymore. Private land, satellite with labels. Sky's the limit. If you want to add more map layers, I have the premium account. So, I mean, you can add all these different US layers. Canada, if you're going to make a trip to Canada, you have all these layers. Europe, Australia, New Zealand, satellite, topos, road maps, feature weather, US hunting, nautical, custom imports, a lot of just that different stuff. It just really just all depends on what you want to do and how you want to make your system work for you. Something else that we'll go over too real quick here is I want to show you how to drop waypoints. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish this track and delete that real quick. So, let's say, for example, we want to do something in this area. So let me go ahead and I'll throw on US Forest Service layer again, right? And let's say, for example, I want to do this road right here. This, what is this? Gold Note Ridge Road, I guess, right? So what you can do is you can, on the iPad, and this is why I tell people to use iPads, because they kind of just have like some nice little additional features that some of the other ones, might not have, is that you can do this. So if you hold your finger, drop a waypoint, just like that. See how it says up top, create route. Bottom left-hand corner, see where it has the bird, right? Click on that, go to driving. And there, now we can start creating a route. But check this out. It also follows along the entire route that you're taking. So now what you can do is track whichever route you want to go. So, I want the road to follow me around this way. All right, let's go this way. All right, cool. And then it also gives you the distance. So, all right, I want to keep following this around. And let's say, for example, maybe you want to turn and head down this road right here. And give me a sec here. All right. Sometimes you do have to drop extra waypoints, but it's not bad. You just have to just kind of work the system a little bit, just like that. And then there you go. You have a track. And this is a perfect example. This road right here, how you have a lot of different turns, a lot of different ways that you can go. If you're not oriented to this area, you can get lost in it very easily. So this is why it's nice to create a route sometimes ahead of time, and that way you have an idea of where exactly where you're going. And then another thing you can do as well is you can drop waypoints. So like, let's say, for example, okay, cool, I'm going to drop a waypoint here. It says red gold mine. All right, so you just go up here and hit save. Say, I don't know, cool. Oh, there it goes. It pops out, red gold mine. All right, I'll save that. That'll be a cool little pin. And then let's go down a little bit more. And let's say there's a cool little viewpoint right here that you Googled and found out. All right, cool. Well, I'll just put in here viewpoint. And then you're like, okay, all right, cool. So then that's kind of what I really do on my trips. And you don't have to do this, but this is just, personal preference. Is I'll research an area, drop some pins, and then during your trip, the only thing that you're really doing is just kind of just playing connect the dots. All right, cool. We're going to go along this road right here, travel along here, and then, all right, hey, we'll go to this gold mine that we found out about. And then after that, all right, cool. Let's keep going down to right here. And, oh, there's a cool viewpoint right here. And we'll go stop off at that as we're going down the trail. And that's really just ultimately what you're doing. You're just going through and just kind of connecting the dots. And then, yeah, that is really the how the system is just really designed very well. Personally, I love it. I've been using it for the last few years. Now, let's go back up to the plus sign right here, right? So let's click on that. This is probably a really important thing you got to learn too, is download maps. So let's say, for example, you're going to go to this area, but you do not know whether or not you're going to have cell service in this area. So what you do is you download a map area layer of this area. But and this is where, again, this is my personal recommendation is if you think you're just going to be exploring this area right here, then you can just download that area. But we know how we all are. We like to expand. We like to go here, there, everywhere. So if you think you're going to be even the slightest possibility of going to different areas in this specific region, just make your box a little bit bigger. Download that whole area. That way you know you're good. You have maps depending, no matter how far you go, you're going to have a map. And then the other thing I will say real quick too is when you do download a map for a specific area, make sure if you want that you just turn off the layers that you don't need. So turn off map box. Take these ones off, take that off, take this off, and take that off. That way, when you download your map, you are just downloading the U.S. Forest Service 2016 layer. Because if you leave all those other layers attached, you are going to download each and every single individual map layer for this specific section, if that makes sense. So if you want to save some data, you can do that by just turning off the layers that you don't need. And then, of course, going back up, we'll go to that's the centering button. I'm going to click that right now. That took us right back over here. We'll go ahead and turn on. Got to reorganize my map layers again. There we go. And by the way, real quick, you saw how like when I had U.S. Forest Service, everything's just like I don't have any information here, right? Well, that's because I didn't have the correct base map selected. So that way, when I go to Mapbox Outdoors, now I have a lot of information. So that's what that button does. And then another cool feature too is if you click this button again, it orients you too. So that way now when you're driving, the map is going to be adjusting no matter where you end up and no matter which way you go, it's going to leave it on this specific area. And that way you're always going to be oriented. It's just another additional little feature. And then this one right here, this just adds this other little subsection right here to the side. You can do that too. I personally just like to leave the maps kind of like this, and that way I leave the picture as big as I can. Again, personal preference. And then another cool thing you can do too is like if you want to like research certain things, you can do that as well. Like you can type in, I don't know, let's type in like Yosemite, right? And you want to research something, you can, Yosemite National Park. Okay, cool. Click that, and then it should take us right there. And voila, Yosemite National Park. So you can type in different areas and it'll take you to it, and that way you can research it and everything else. If you're looking for a specific spot, you can do that as well. But yeah, that's basically some of the main functions of Gaia. Probably some of the things that I personally use the most common. Again, really helpful app and a lot of fun to use. It is a little confusing at first. There is a ton of information, but after a while, you do eventually end up getting used to it. All right, everybody. So that is essentially Gaia in a nutshell. Those are probably some of the most basic skills, but also some of the things that you probably will use the most of. Uh, Again, it's a great resource. I love using Gaia. Like I said, I've been using it for the last 7, 8 years. I think it's probably been out about that long. And it's been a awesome tool. Really cool to use. A lot of great information. Um, Getting used to it at first can be quite a bit. There's a lot of information, so it can be a little overwhelming. I completely understand that. I got a little overwhelmed myself when I first started using it, but once you start playing around with it and kind of, you know, figuring out how it works and everything, it does become a lot easier. Uh, Again, and I cannot stress this enough, probably the best thing that you can do is just understand what area you're going into, who owns the land, and that will definitely help you out, because then from there, you can figure out the right map to use. Because you might get frustrated, like, oh man, I can't find out any trails or anything about this area, and I really want to explore it and figure it out, but I don't know where I'm going. You just have to figure out who owns the land and use that specific layer, and then that'll get you a long ways. Again, $40 a year, not that bad of a price, honestly. I enjoy it. I honestly, my thought process has been for the longest time to you know for Nicole and I to do a lifetime of traveling, exploring, dropping waypoints, finding cool places, destinations, and everything like that. And really, honestly, what really makes me excited to the end of the day is for me to be able to take Gaia, take everything that we've explored throughout the years, and whenever I have kids, pass on the torch and be like, all right, here's my login, here's my membership. You guys go out, go have your own adventures, and go just have the time of your life exploring places that you want to go explore. Don't delete my waypoints though. That's one rule. Don't delete my waypoints. That will be the one stipulation. But just to kind of pass off the mantle and everything like that, because gosh, the more I've been exploring Gaia, the more I've figured out it's gosh, the world is a huge place, and there is a ton of stuff to explore, without a doubt. But with that being said, I hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Again, as always, you have questions on Gaia, the gear I use, or anything like that, feel free to message me, and I'll try and get it over, and I'll let you guys know. But anyways, hopefully you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.